Welcome back, Motion Peeps. Today I'm going to be talking about a film called La La Land.
There was always that fear that the Force would awaken with a serious hangover. Why is a certain patience, which most blockbusters simply don't demand?
For all its virtues, it's still a product that exists largely to benefit a company that's made more than enough money this year. Go home, watch Mad Max Fury Road, and learn how to shoot a proper action.
Coffee first. Welcome back, Motion Peeps! What can I say? It's been a long time. Work and life priorities took over big time, and 2020, the one year my fans might have needed me most, sadly had to suffer a motion picture drought. So why on earth is it now that I've become a father with a full-time teaching position and many other responsibilities that I decide to return? Short answer, I must be insane. That said, the reality of fatherhood during this precise moment in history has provided this cinephile with a renewed perspective. It can all be summed up with one question: how does a new parent tackle the constant barrage of an unpredictable infant, all the while keeping their passion alive? The answer is not obvious. For one, the old Motion Picks, always the fan of striking hot iron, would never wait months to address a new release. A film about which everything that could be said surely has already been said. In the case of Raya and the Last Dragon, a full feature that recaptures the essence of Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra has more in common with Indiana Jones than Frozen, and takes an admirable stance on conflict resolution. What more can I add? Perhaps I could address the fact that for a movie that is adamantly anti-violence, it features some almost hypocritically cool action sequences. But the truth is, I'm not that interested in having a hot take. At least, not about the movie itself. It is time we address the microscopic elephant in the room. As a truly devastating event, COVID-19 has affected all aspects of life over the last 13 months. And although we must recognise its sheer insignificance in the light of real tragedy, our consumption of film is one such aspect. The pandemic has equally stirred and shaken up the film industry like some pretentious cocktail, and all kinds of bizarre decisions have been made as a result. Subscription and transactional video on demand seem poised to turn home cinema into the new actual cinema, as newer releases have become increasingly more readily available, in many cases shattering the theatrical window. That said, cinemas are up and running here in Australia, so it's only a matter of time before we see where the masses flock. In the before times, namely before my baby was born, as a theatre experience purist, I would have shaken my fist like Abe Simpson at even the thought of streaming as a viable alternative to cinema. Films are made with the intent of being enjoyed by a theatre audience. It is one of the best communal experiences our culture has to offer, and the cheapening of filmmaker intent with a couch potato channel surfing attitude, it's a genuine concern. But now, I have a baby. Raya and The Last Dragon comes along hitting both cinemas and Disney Plus with the same stone. On the one hand, it's a Disney blockbuster with a limited theatrical release. A bit of an anomaly actually. On the flip side, it's on a streaming service I have, but only after paying a hefty fee. If I am to commit to watching it ASAP, I have two options. A, selfishly escaping home where I'm needed to a big screen full sound experience with a handful of strangers. B, paying the price of 2 tickets to watch a film with low volume next to my beautiful wife, all the while knowing we'll have to pause it every 10 minutes to check on our restless infant. Granted, neither is ideal, but the choice, admittedly, is easy. So this sleep-deprived mind ventures forth into the latest capital D Disney extravaganza on a 55-inch screen in crisp, ultra-high definition. Full immersion? Impossible. thanks to the stop-start nature of the viewing experience. It's also possible that the voiceover framing device, jarringly postmodern for a fantasy epic, is another barrier to overcome. But with the enforced low volume, refusal to resort to glitchy subtitles, and a baby monitor demanding its own audience, there are many contributing factors. Regardless, we stick with it and settle into our slightly unpredictable rhythm. During pauses of picking up and rocking baby, feeding and changing nappies, we get to reflect on what we've just seen. It allows us to slowly digest the film and live with it a little longer. For a 2-hour movie, it becomes a 3-hour experience, but not one that overstays its welcome. The movie itself was good. A fantasy epic with rich world building and a straightforward narrative push, yet with enough twists and turns to keep things interesting. The fantasy setting does for Southeast Asia what Howl's Moving Castle and Kiki's Delivery Service did for Western Europe. It's an amalgamation of a few cultures that mixes existing traditions with fantastical elements to create something fairly unique. The film has drawn criticism for its shorthand approach to depicting Southeast Asia, as well as for its voice cast not entirely hailing from the approximated global region. But surely, we can allow some leeway when it comes to fantasy, right? Surely. Aside from the setting though, the real hook for me was the film's strong thematic content. Its message about reconciliation and sacrifice for the betterment of others is more than appreciated and beneficial for kids and adults alike. It made me think about how COVID has brought about greater division across Australia's state borders. The sheer amount of finger pointing and name calling has been, let's face it, a bit silly. If only there was some shiny magical gem to bring us all back into harmonious coexistence. Or we could stop being jerks to each other. That would be nice. Queensland, Victoria, you're both beautiful in your own way. Just Victoria, stop calling yourself the education state. You're not fooling anyone. Where was I? Alright, there are still some aspects of the film which I felt didn't work as well, namely the tone. Clashing between ancient fantasy seriousness and more modern comedic sensibilities in ways that felt uncomfortably anachronistic. And films like Aladdin or Hercules, which feature comically exaggerated versions of the worlds they represent, the postmodern humour feels only appropriate. Here, on the other hand, it sometimes comes across as a little bit forced. But then there's the obvious caveat. Comedy always lands better with a crowd. So there's a solid chance that my main issue with the film isn't actually an issue. In any case,
this film is rated F for fantastic by the Motion Peeps Association of Australia.
That's right, I'm bringing back the rating system. Raya and The Last Dragon is more than worthwhile, if not quite a classic. Only time will tell how well it ages. As for me, I'm heading back to the wonderful world of parenting with a few movies sprinkled in. Till next time, Motion Peeps.